She know it.
We changed it, and we gonna set it.
You know she don't remember each week.
It didn't go. Hold on.
That's why I don't get one because I don't ever remember. And I don't need it because y'all got enough stuff to read and focus on. Come on, y'all.
There you go. Okay, update password.
Where are we? 5:29.
Okay.
Who's supposed to be doing the time? We don't have a parliamentarian who's doing the time. How many is it in all? Yolanda, I think, was supposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Is that 8, 9? 10,
We
11,
click this
12,
out, right?
13, 14,
Okay, that's
15,
just it.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Okay.
You got to divide 21 people by 30 minutes. 21 by 30, 21 by 30 minutes. I think Yolanda was ready to. Business meeting at Memphis-Shelby County School. Mrs. Clark, please call the roll.
Commissioner McKessie, Commissioner Garcia,
Here.
Commissioner Wood,
Here.
Commissioner Love,
Here.
Commissioner Coleman, Commissioner Calvo,
Here.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Present, and so is board members McKissick and Coleman. I think they're muted, but they're on the screen.
Okay, you have 8 affirmative.
Thank you. We do have a quorum this evening. Tonight's posting of colors is presented by White Station High School. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God. Thank you. The question is now on the approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments?
Chair, Board Commissioners, at this time, I'd like to ask that the agenda be amended to remove item 12.2, contract approval, YMCA of Memphis and the Mid-South. The district is currently operating under an existing agreement that extends into year 2027, and so this contract is not necessary.
12.2. Thank you, Board Member Calvo.
Madam Chair, I would like to see if we could unbundle item 12.1 so we could vote individually for the charter recommendations.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Do you understand this question? He wanted to.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
12.5.
May I have a motion and a
But-
second?
Chair Green, I think there was one other item that we had talked about being in addition on tonight's agenda. Am I missing?
10.1. Question is 10.1. I think that's going to come on 11.1 on those first readings. I think those policies are found there. So we wanted to Superintendent 11.1. We need to break that one up. (11.1) First reading. There was one, I think Maria said it was urgent that we had to vote on tonight. We wanted to vote on that one, and did you understand this? To separate something in the first policy. Something in this one. To deal with the one I think 16.14 that we had to deal with. Yes, ma'am. We was working on what we did on it. We don't have a copy to it. So, what about the one we did on this side? Did you actually? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. May I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Kevin Woods and a second by Stephanie Love. Thank you. Roll call vote.
Commissioner McKissick, Commissioner Garcia.
Aye. And I just want to point out, they cannot hear the meeting. Yep.
They can't hear. Okay. Commissioner Woods,
Aye.
Commissioner Love, Commissioner Coleman, Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green,
Aye.
Commissioner McKissick.
She said aye.
Okay, I can hear.
I didn't say aye.
I said McKissick.
Commissioner Love.
Aye.
You have 8 affirmative.
Thank you. The agenda is approved. We are now on to public comments. In accordance with the state statute, the board shall reserve a period for public comment during business and special call meetings. Only those members of the public who signed up prior to the meeting will be allowed to address the board. 30 minutes tonight. We have 21 individuals, and you will have one minute. Thank you, Mr. Woods. Please state your name, organization he or she is representing, if any, the subject of your comments before you are permitted to proceed. You may offer objective comments about school operations and programs. You're asked to refrain from using names of personnel or persons connected with the school system when lodging a complaint. You may not engage in gossip or make defamatory comments or use abusive or vulgar language. The chairwoman shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of those comments. I will call the names tonight in the order that they were given to me. Please remember to state your name and address. LaQuisha Mason, Jennifer Benton, Terrell Monger, Dean Jones, Elizabeth Tolliver. I'm sorry, I can't read the first name, last name, Wardlaw, and Carol Williams. Please come in that order. Thank you.
Good evening. I am speaking in support of Iota Community Schools. My name is Dr. Mason. I have taught at Wooddale Middle for 7 years. Looking back at my first year to now, you can see that we have come a mighty long way. The facts show that we have moved the school out of the bottom 5% in the state. Data shows that we can and are continuously growing students in the areas in and outside of the classroom. What you don't see on paper is our daily sacrifices and the extended days. If you were to look up in lieu appearing in the dictionary, you will see a picture of Wooddale Middle staff. Why Wooddale Middle? Some may ask. We'll just ask the student. Why Wooddale Middle? Why Iota? Is because we never give up on our children. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Benton. I'm speaking for the Girls School of Grizzlies Prep, 168 Jefferson Avenue. I'm Jennifer Benton, and this is my 11th year working at Grizzlies Prep. I've served as Director of Culture for 8 years and then a Parent Liaison for 3. Since the beginning, our board, directors, and school leaders dreamed of adding a girls' school. I support that dream, and I know you can make that dream come true. If the board approves the girls' school tonight, I assure you we will provide a unique, effective STEM education where girls are taught leadership skills and provided opportunities to serve in communities. Our goal is to empower young girls to be competent and confident. By providing a supportive and innovative learning environment, we will help shape future leaders and drive positive change in Memphis. Thank you.
My name is Terrell Munger. I am senior pastor at One Accord International in the Parkway Village community, right around the corner from Wooddale Middle. And having worked with the leadership at Wooddale and the leadership at Iota, I see that they have a great commitment to education. And not only that, the family engagement is high, the community engagement is high, and we share the same beliefs to bring the support, more opportunities for the kids, the love, vision, the commitment to excellence to work together in the community, not only with academics, but activities for them to do as far as performing arts and using their talents and gifts in a positive way that not only help them be effective in their school, but also effective in their community, because our desire is to help them be productive citizens. And I'm committed to working with them just as they're committed to working with the kids. And as we talked about in the meeting earlier, One Accord is committed to be an adopter of that school to help the children in that area.
My name is Dean Jones, 2486 Bending Elm Drive. Coming to you today as a 15-year teacher. I'm at Oak Haven High School currently. I love being outside for a second. When I came in, when the officer opened the door, I was hit with like the most cool breeze ever. And I instantly smiled when it happened. I'm coming from Oak Haven in the band room. When I left my band room, it clocked at 90.4 degrees. And I know this is not the only building or the only place in the district that's dealing with that. I really want to just reiterate with you guys, we have students coming in on Monday, and I really want to make sure that the students have a safe environment to work in. I'm a band director. The students are extremely exerting themselves a lot. I don't want to see kids get sick. And throughout the district, I know that there are a lot of places that's getting ready to start the school year without AC or proper ventilation with the students. So that's my only concern. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Chairman Green and the entire board of Shelby County Schools of Education. I'm Elizabeth Tolliver. I'm the founder, CEO of the nonprofit Elements of Life. I'm here to speak on the behalf of Cornerstone Education Group and their desire to purchase the facilities that currently house Lester Prep. It is vital that Lester Prep remains with CEG in order to continue the important work being done in the Binghamton community. It has been an oasis for thousands of students and parents searching for a better way of life. I am in full support of CEG purchasing the property in order to fulfill its mission in a community that is often overlooked. These families need Lester Prep. When I started Elements of Life, Lester Prep opened their doors and their hearts. I was allowed to offer parenting classes to the community in order to educate the parents skills required to raise healthy and intellectual curious children. I also offered job readiness, anger management instructions to the parents. I support CEG's
I'm
desire
sorry,
to.
you're out of time, but
Okay.
you can feel free to email us, and I promise you we will continue this discussion.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lou Wardlaw, and I represent the Fraser Recycling Center in their application to expand the landfill. I'd first off like to thank Commissioner Love for attending a public meeting that we had and raising concerns of the school board and the school. I'd like to take my brief time to address the June 25th resolution of this board. First, one of the things that it says is that the landfill operations will be within 100 feet of Whitney Elementary School. And that's incorrect. The operations themselves will be 575 feet away. As importantly, it says that there's worries from this board about hazardous material processing, dust, noise, odor, gas, and leakage. And that's simply not the case. This is a construction landfill, not a municipal dump, as I think is feared by this board and others. Stephanie Love brought to our attention a concern that the school had about rats. My clients have dug deep into that issue and found there to be none and have offered $5,000 to the school to help remediate that. Thank you.
Good evening, school board members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address you tonight. My name is Carol Williamson. I am the owner of Fraser Recycling and Landfill, along with my husband, Steve. We are a small, family-owned business and employ about 8 to 10 people, giving preference to the Fraser residents first. We've been operating peaceably in the West Fraser community for over 15 years, with Whitney Elementary to our west and our industrial and residential neighbors to the south. As a mother and former educator with a master's in special education, I in no way would ever want to harm any child or distract them from learning. We have heard the concerns about the expansion, and we have addressed each one of them. We have conducted noise, air, and water tests. We have provided adequate screening from our surrounding properties. We do not accept any type of hazardous waste or chemicals. We are very careful to follow the rules of every agency that governs us. We will continue to be diligent in operating our facility in such a way that we can coexist with all of our surrounding neighbors in the West Fraser community as a whole. To back up my words, we are donating $5,000 to Whitney Elementary to help them alleviate the problem they're having with rodents. Thank you.
Our next 7 speakers: Patrick Washington, Carol Williamson, Steve Williamson, Nicholas Manning, Vanessa Acosta, and Chad Everett.
Superintendent Fagans, Madam Chair Lady, Commissioners, family, friends, loved ones. My father dropped me off at this building 27 years ago with this portfolio. I had just graduated from Mississippi State. I walked in, signed in. They said, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "I need a job." I was offered a position at Evans Elementary. I actually started walking from here to there, got a ride from a family friend. long story short, it was almost 27 years ago. Tonight, I showed up with other folks with me, Man Up Fellows. Y'all see all these brothers? There's some outside. Since 2018, we've recruited, placed, paid full tuition for over 100 black men and brown brothers to teach in Memphis and Shelby County. We're here tonight to simply bring awareness. We want to partner for real and continue this work. We just brought in an additional group of 35 fellows last Friday. We have a team. We have 4 fellows on the bench. We're ready. Memphis, it's time to man up.
Carol Williamson, Steve Williamson. Okay. Then you can come, Mr. Manning.
I am married to Carol Williamson. Tonight's our 36-year wedding anniversary, so.
Happy anniversary.
Do you have a trophy you could give her or something? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name's Steve Williamson. I'm the owner of Memphis Wrecking Company. And by the laws of the state of Tennessee, my wife owns 50%, so we are partners. Okay, a couple quick points. We've been in the Fraser community for over a century, my family. You may wonder why a construction demolition landfill. Like the reason I use that example, they're married. We've tore down, I've lost count, 25 or 30 schools, and they have to go someplace, and there's only 2 places right now, and that would be our facility and another. If we're turned down for our expansion, there'll be one. There'll be a monopoly. I want to make sure y'all know there's a 1,000-foot ravine between Memphis Wrecking and Whitney School. It's 1,000 feet long, 300 foot wide, 25 foot deep, covered by a tree landscape. You could put the Liberty Bowl between the 2 of us. We are not like this. We are very separated. We have FraserRecycling.com or MemphisWrecking.com. It'll answer 90% of our questions. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to make sure I was in order this time. My name is Nicholas Manning, Executive Director for Journey Community Schools. Tonight I'm asking you to consider Journey Northeast Academy for approval. Here's 4 clear reasons why. Number 1, Journey Northeast met all requirements of the rubric: academics, operations, finance, and more importantly, past performance. Number 2, for 2 consecutive years, we have accepted the Tennessee Reward School Commendation for Journey East Academy, earning a B. Last year, this board, thank you, approved Journey Coleman to transition from the ASD to MSCS because of our proven performance as compared to other MSCS schools doing turnaround work, whether it was TVAS and the fact that we have earned exit status from CSI. Number 3, the slides that you have in front of you or in your email suggest that when looking at School Board Rule 1011 and saturation, we have similar numbers than the school being recommended. And then finally, we have earned from the Tennessee Department of Education a school program grant of $700,000 pending approval tonight.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Vanessa Acosta. I'm representing Wooddale Middle School and my community is Parkway Village. My parents chose Wooddale Middle School because it's a safe, healthy environment where teachers help students grow into better versions of themselves every day. Wooddale Middle School prioritizes that students feel respected and connected with the staff and are engaging and learning to become successful leaders that strive for academic excellence. I was a student council ambassador at Wooddale Middle School, which gave me the opportunity to meet many successful leaders and politicians. I also had the amazing opportunity to learn about aviation and what happened behind the scenes on an aircraft that not many people know about. The staff and teachers at Woodell Middle School pushed me to my full potential. As a result, I achieved a 4.0 GPA and salutatorian of 2024. Woodell Middle School will continue to reach for these goals and making students strong, successful leaders for the future through IOTA Community Schools. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Chad Everett, Chief of Staff for Iowa Community Schools. In Iowa Community Schools, our motto is small things, big impact. And although I stand here to ask you to vote to reauthorize Wooddale Middle School with the district, I believe it's more appropriate for me to use the district's motto, learn, lead, and leave a legacy. Tonight, this board will submit its legacy. What happens when an organization does such a good job running its school that it removes it from the bottom 5% and removes the priority designation? What happens when it creates the opportunity for students to participate in aviation programs and earn full ride scholarships to aviation camp during the summer? In a city where far too often they say that politics are too thick for real work to happen and no one wants to step in and not hide behind parties or step out front and stand on business, as we would say in the city of Memphis, I'm asking this board to move the vote for Wooddale off of the consent agenda and for each member to clearly submit your legacy. You have the opportunity to show that you are a champion for all children. It is not district versus charter. We are partners in this work to serve all the students of the city of Memphis. Thank you.
Our next 7 are T.M. Ware, Ross, can't read the last name, I'm sorry, Tavis Rutherford, Alex W., Daniel P., and Nyrone Hawkins. I didn't want to mess up names tonight. You may come in that order, starting with you, Mr. Ware.
Good evening, Superintendent, Chairman Green, Commissioners, and Commissioner McKissick, who is our District 1 lead. My name is Tim Ware, address 1369 Cedar Run Cove. I am the Executive Director of Memphis Grizzlies Prep. I know today you have the opportunity to vote to approve our proposed school, Memphis Grizzlies Prep STEAM School for Girls. For 14 years, Memphis Grizzlies Prep has been a proud partner of MSCS. We have delivered on the district's goals as well as ours. So on the last 7 scoring cycles with TVAS, we have earned level 5 designation 5 times. Again, we are committed partners to MSCS. We have a track record of effective service to our communities, to the families and the children that attend our school. The April 30th meeting, we received a lot of feedback from this board, and we received feedback from the Office of Charter Schools. And by implementing that feedback, we have been able to earn the approval of the superintendent, or the support of the superintendent, and we hope that we have the opportunity tonight to earn the approval and support of each of you as board members. Thank you very much.
Hi there, I'm Ross Glotzbach, Chairman of the Board at Grizzlies Prep, 4146 Grandview Avenue. You've already got to hear from Tim and Jennifer today about Grizz Prep and our hopes for a girls' school. We've been trying pretty much since day one after we opened as a boys' school. We hope we've had a good track record. We really appreciated all the feedback from all of y'all last time that we got to come here and talk. And we just wanted to let you know, we're here if you have any other questions before we have this vote later today. So thank you. Bye.
Good evening. Thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to speak. My name is Tavis Rutherford, and I'm here representing Lester Prep. I've been educated at Lester Prep for 12 years. My first 5 years with Cornerstone Prep, the elementary school. That opened the gateway for me to become a teacher. I'm currently in my 13th year, 8th year at Lester Prep as an educator as well as a coach. I'm just as excited today as I was 12 years ago. I love what that school does. I love where they do it in Binghamton. I love who they do it for and the why. It's because every community deserves access to a quality education. So we ask that you approve the sale of Lester Prep um, here in this coming future. Thank you.
Members of the board, my name is Alex Robel. My ask for you today is to engage with Capstone Education Group and Lester Prep in the sale of Lester facility. I've worked for Capstone Education Group for 12 years. I've also lived in the Binghamton area for 12 years. So I come to you today as a community member, specifically from Binghamton, where the Lester facility is located and that CEG wants to buy. I'm going to read for you a definition of a school board member from the National School Board Association. School board members are elected by people in their community to represent their values, views, and desires for public schools in their district. As selected leaders in the community, they consistently communicate with the public to keep community members abreast of challenges, ideas, and progress. I'm here today to call on the board members to faithfully discharge their duties as a public school board member overseeing public schools. The will of the public is clearly to sell the building to Cornerstone Prep Lester and Lester Prep and for them to be the community school. We have and have sent to the administration 400 plus signatures of parents supporting the sale of MSCS of the building to CEG. And we also have 98% of parents supported CPL just 2 years ago with the trigger law. So let me scroll down because I thought I had 3 minutes, but hold on. So my ask is to engage with us in good faith. In the best interest of the budget, last I've heard, you guys were laying off 650 teachers, cutting more than 1,000 jobs, all while we're trying to write you a multi-million-dollar check and take the risk of an aging facility off your hands.
Thank you. Yes, sir. You're out of time. Sorry.
Daniel Piñaranda, 7581 Cross Village. I'm the CFO of Iota Community Schools. I've been with Iota Community Schools, formerly Green Dot Public Schools, for going on about 10 years now. And I want to take the opportunity tonight to provide some clarity around Iota's transition away from Green Dot. First, I wanted to make sure that you guys know that this was not a dissolution. It was a rebranding under a brand that more closely fit our needs and our kids here in Memphis. Green Dot Public Schools, Tennessee no longer exists. Iota Community Schools does exist, but this is no more a dissolution than Shelby County Schools was dissolved to become Memphis-Shelby County Schools. Secondly, there was much talk in our application about the capacity to continue to do this work without our friends in California. For 10 years now, there have been people here in Memphis doing this hard work every day with our students. That has not changed, and that will continue. I don't think we need someone in California to tell us how to do great work for our kids here in Memphis. So I'm asking you to allow us to please continue to do this great work here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nyron Hawkins. I'm the Executive Director of Memphis Gridiron Ministries in Binghamton. I'm coming to speak on behalf of Lester Prep Elementary. They are a valued community partner in our community. And when people are leaving Binghamton, when people are leaving the inner city for better places, they are committed to stay, and not only stay, but to serve our kids at a high level. They work especially, I speak also for First Baptist Church Broad, which I am a member of. They are one of the community partners we can count on. They open up the school for us. They allow us to come in and do tutoring for our after school program for the kids that we serve. It's not too often that you see people willing to give of themselves and to make the community better. There are a lot of other places in the city that they could go and look for a building and to pay, but they want to stay in the community. That means something to us. The Hemp, we are proud of it. We're proud of the relationship we had, and more importantly, we're proud of the work that they're doing in the community, and we would like to continue to be a partner and be with them in their work.
Our last two speakers, Damon Curry Morris and Miss Cynthia Poole. Would you come in that order, please? Pulliam? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Damon Curry Morris, represent Public Relations Manager for the Historic Orange Mound Collaborative Group. I'm here today to ask the school board, while we're talking about contracts and everything, I know you all have to go through all that. I've gotten several calls from parents across the district about uniforms and uniform policies. I think that the district needs a comprehensive uniform policy. I said years ago, I think it was kind of asinine to leave it in the principal's hands because we don't want to get into and I've been talking about educational equity for years. We don't want to get into a point where we have students feeling like they're less than because one school can do something versus another school can do something. So I believe that a resolution needs to be brought as far as doing a comprehensive uniform plan, because there seems to be a lot of confusion out here in the community and parents who are very upset as to certain schools changing the uniform policy at the last minute. So I would implore the board to try to bring a comprehensive, equitable uniform policy to the schools. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Cynthia Pulliam. I am the mother of Timothy Michael Stevenson, who was killed in gun violence in 2020. We are starting a movement for security in our schools, in our homes, and in our community, and we need everybody in here support. Uh, we know that it's no longer cancer or leukemia or any of the diseases that's killing our kids. The number one killer of children is gun violence. So we need to get real. We need your support on August the 24th. We're going to be at the Redbirds game. We want every organization, every school, every principal, bring your children out. We will be advocating against anti-gun violence and the 3 new rules that's going to be coming up in November election about gun violence. We need you to be there and be heard, be seen, and make a difference.
Thank you. Superintendent's recognition of grants, gifts, and donations.
All right, well, good evening. This evening we have a few students with us. Some of our students attended the Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics, better known as the Olympics of the Mind. It's the NAACP competition. They traveled to Las Vegas earlier in July. If you are here, if you will come up when your name is called. Miss Mila McRee from Overton High School. She's a junior and competed in the vocal classical category. Jordan Bowen, Cordova High School. Is a new alum, graduated in May, competed in the vocal contemporary category. Tyler Llewellyn, Overton High School, also graduated in May. Instrumental classical was the category. Kirsten Boyd, also from Overton High School, current senior, and competed in dramatics. Miss London Haynes, White Station High School senior, competed in the oratory and photography category. Levante Tate, Hollis F. Price Middle College High School, a junior, competed in poetry. Joseph Alexander, Central High School, also a proud alumni of Memphis-Shelby County Schools as of May, and competed in sculpture. Xavier Hall, Kingsbury High School, also a May graduate and competed in drawing. Antonio Gary of East High School, a sophomore, competed in filmmaking. Miss Vicki Terry is the executive director of the NAACP Memphis branch. Congratulations to these 9 students who represented Memphis very well in the national competition.
Okay. All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
I think she said, okay. I think she started. Who's that?
The question is now on the approval of the minutes for the following meetings. 6.1, approval of the minutes of the June 18, 2024 work session. 6.2, approval of the minutes on the June 25th, 2024 business meeting. Are there any corrections? There being no corrections, may I have them? Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Love and a second by Commissioner Woods. Roll call vote.
Commissioner McKissick, Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Wood,
Aye.
Commissioner Love,
Aye.
Commissioner Coleman,
Aye.
Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 8 affirmative.
Thank you. Those minutes are approved.
Madam Chair, I just want to state for the record that, and I'm sure you may have mentioned it, but I may have missed it, but,
It's in my chair report.
oh, where they are?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, good deal. Yeah.
All right, so now we're on to board chair report. I just want to take a moment to thank my colleagues, Commissioner McKissick and Commissioner Coleman, who are representing us this week at the National School Safety Conference. You know that safety is always a priority of this district, so we want to shout them out for representing us this week. They can hear us. I think we may not be able to hear them, but thank you. We appreciate you all for representing us in the wonderful city of Orlando, Florida. Thank you. That concludes my chair report. Short and to the point tonight. 8.2, academic performance, and all of our items on the agenda tonight. 8.3, budget, audit, and finance.
Many of the items are on the agenda tonight. I want to see if our Chief Langston, as we get close, as we start a new school year, can we have a schedule of when budget adjustments and what that will look like before the board? Because I think feedback was having early and often conversations around our budget. I'm directing it to you too, just so the public can know throughout the year what that looks like, and when the board will know when we're making those adjustments from what we've presented and approved by both this body and our funding body. So, thank you.
Thank you. 8.4, charter school committee reports, and we have those items on our agenda as well tonight. 8.5, community outreach and engagement committee report.
No report.
All right. 8.6, evaluation committee report. No report. 8.7, policies govern and legislation.
The policies are on the agenda.
All right. 8.8, procurement committee report.
We are on the agenda, Chair.
Thank you. And 8.9, general counsel report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing at this time.
All right. Thank you. And 8.10, we're now on to the superintendent's report.
So good evening again. As a matter of update, as we prepare to start school on Monday, a lot of work is taking place behind the scenes, providing just another update as we did last week. We've moved now to 99% of our schools are clean, and that's as of today. There are a few schools, but our school that we are giving the greatest attention to, and we're certain we'll be there before Monday, is Raleigh Egypt High School. We do have some stuff going on in the building in terms of addressing some areas in there, but we will be fine on Monday. You can visit Summer Clean on the website, and you can see this information by school for yourself as well. But we are, generally speaking, ready to go on Monday in terms of our custodial work. Looking at school readiness, so we've been very transparent about the opportunities for talent management. I do want to clarify that we have not laid off 650 teachers. We would certainly like to hire 650 teachers, but we have not laid off any teachers. So I want to be sure. I want to be clear about that on the record here. But we've held several hiring blitzes to focus on our efforts, 10 of them to be exact, stretching across Memphis for sure in the regional area, and then certainly extending ourselves beyond the state of Tennessee. We've had more than 1,000 attendees at these blitzes. Certainly we focused one of our blitzes on our nutrition services and facility services, which was probably our most impactful one, and served to place a great dent in those areas. Total recommendations made were 424. In June, I shared about 554 vacancies, instructional, meaning in the classroom, directly impacting our students. Today, we're hovering around 258. That number has also decreased. And so proud of the talent management team and the team overall, our schools, everyone who has worked around the clock to make this happen, as we want to ensure that every student has access to a certified teacher for sure. On Monday, we will have someone in every classroom as we continue our recruitment efforts to attract the best to Memphis-Shelby County schools. Questions? Yeah.
So, good job just coming down to 258. Two questions. What are the areas that are most impacted? And the second, I know you said we'll have somebody in every classroom. How are we going to supplement that? What's kind of the plan?
Sure, appreciate it. We've definitely master planned around this, and so thank you for asking. In terms of where the highest needs are, is where they are nationally as we think about a teacher shortage. We can't forget that during the pandemic, more than 300,000 teachers left the field, and we won't replace that anytime soon. As we think about the areas, though, special education is our highest need. We have about 56 or so vacancies, true vacancies in that area. I think this area, in terms of highlighting it the most and underscoring it, federally, we can allow anyone who is not certified in the area to teach, and so that takes away our permit pathway option, any other opportunity short of a long-term sub certified in the area, and so that is our highest need. Our English ESL positions would come next, if you will, as we think about warmly embracing our multilingual learners. Certainly that is a need there. And then generally speaking, math and in our areas that we traditionally think of would start to come and take place. Art, librarians, physical education, CCTE, where we just need a highly specialized individual that has the experience in those areas. So that kind of encompasses the areas in terms of content. As we think about where the greatest number of positions are, certainly SOUP schools, if you will, that's the largest number of schools in terms of how we've categorized them. More than 80 schools are seated there, but we have dwindled down those vacancies as well. What we're looking at for now is certainly I'll be in some classrooms, senior leaders will be in classrooms in terms of taking on the work. We do whatever it takes, and it starts with us. We are in contact with certified teachers, long-term subs as well. We have generally extended $5,000 relocation. We've done, our part, if you will, in closing this gap. I will say we are significantly lower than we were as a district last year entering the year, but certainly one vacancy is too many. In addition to that, other areas we've given thought to Certainly, we have to consider for our retired teachers, they can't work more than 120 days. And so just giving thought to that, been in contact with the state and receiving those who have special education endorsements and thinking about offering them something to move around and meet the need as well. And so we're definitely master planning around it to think about how we can address it and close it even more before Monday.
Are you through with the presentation?
No, ma'am, would you like for me to finish? Okay. So as we move forward in terms of our supports and what that looks like, as we think about the definition of a community school, the district will be a model for what that really means. In short, public schools partnering with families and community organizations is what a community school is. And so as we've taken these deep investments and poured them directly into our schools, that's exactly what you'll be able to see. Serves the purpose of removing barriers and certainly supporting students, but we provide a hyper focus on the types of wraparound services that are necessary so that teachers can teach and that students can learn. And so as we continue our focus here on really wrapping our students and wrapping our schools with the types of supports that they need, several emails have come in just sharing that they're underscoring and applauding the district's efforts and really aligning with what it really means to be a community school. And so when I share that we'll be an exemplar and a national model, this is really what it's all about. Certainly it's a unique combination as we think about 4 key areas. Those are integrated student supports, meaning they don't have to leave the school to get the types of supports that they need. And so placing social workers, more nurses, school psychologists, speech pathologists directly in the schools to the degree possible, with an understanding that we're also experiencing a shortage there. That's what that means to provide the supports in an integrated way that everyone is working collectively in service to and on behalf of our students. Expanding our after school, our learning time, our enrichment, that's certainly a part of what a community school means. And then providing active family and community engagement. And so you will see our increased efforts to engage our families, to really walk alongside them during the journey at key transitional areas, but certainly just along the pre-K through 20 as we expand our thinking around what it means to service a student from birth to age 20. Providing collaborative leadership and practices, and you will see our efforts there as well. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to those who have emailed us. You're recognizing the efforts and you're seeing where the funds are being placed in terms of attendance liaisons, truancy liaisons, family engagement liaisons, and the list goes on as we think about wrapping our networks with the types of supports that they need. In that same vein, when I first started, our business partners, community partners in general asked, what do we need? I named 4 key areas, and one of those was to take on the commitment to serve as a partner for the district so that we can meet our very ambitious goal of having at least one partner for every single school. This is just a screenshot of a few schools, but you can log on to our website, scsk12.org/school partners. You can see the full list. Most importantly, you can see where you are needed. Wherever you see the need, please reach out to our Office of Partnership and Development, and they are prepared to serve. We're proud to say that we do have more than 1,300 adopters and partners as we think about the work, and so we're certainly thankful for who we have. But when we think about what exists across the city of Memphis and Shelby County and what we could have access and connection to and think about collaboration on steroids, for lack of better words, then we know that there are a lot of opportunities that remain. Continuing to look ahead, so you've heard me share a lot that we will track every contract. It is certainly great to do business with individuals who want to do business with the district, but that business has to serve for the good of our students, and certainly it needs to be measurable and lead to outcomes. More specifically, the types of outcomes that are connected to what will become our strategic plan once we begin that work on the other side of elections. Please vote. 308 active contracts currently exist, and certainly we arrived at that 308 308. We have well over 308 contracts, so I want to be clear here. What we are measuring and monitoring, we've removed those who have already been completed, or they're holding, or they're currently waiting for signature, they're in progress under legal review, pending board approval, or missing a status, and you can see that's 5,541 contracts. The expiration date is on or before June 30th, meaning they've sunset. That was 9,306 contracts. And then those that have no expiration date, the contract was entered before this fiscal year 2024. That's 2,349 contracts. And then there are contracts where the value is less than or equal to $1. So we excluded 221 contracts with $0, and then 46 contracts where 1 penny, and then 1 contract that was 10 cents, and then 17 contracts at $1. Overall, our Power Apps will use this to track the metrics. This work will be tracked in our Office of Strategy and Innovation. Proud of that team for putting this together for me. We will release this quarterly. Certainly we'll share the updates each month that I give a report, but we will share the entire report each quarter so that you too can monitor the status of those who are doing work with the district, along with the specific strategic metrics, as well as the anticipated outcomes that we've mentioned and talked about. And you can see those planned reporting dates as well. Continuing to look ahead, so I heard a little bit about air. I want to share that, the air exists in every building, but we do have an aging infrastructure, and so there are warmer parts of our buildings than others that we are aware of and addressing. Simply speaking, that means that we have an opportunity to maybe add one more chiller in some spaces that will allow the air to spread across a large building in terms of capacity. But the air is not broken anywhere, but as we know, we have incredibly aged buildings. We're thankful that they're still standing, but they are aged, and so we will continue to experience breaks in our products and equipment, and we'll continuously have to replace it. And so when you hear us sharing an overall capital facilities plan that we'll begin to work on and strengthen with the board and make some real decisions, we're keeping this in mind along the way. But you can follow along as we've been transparent since the end of May. Project Build is that particular site on our website. You can see at this point now we've upgraded it to demonstrate or to show every single school and then every single capital project that we have, the status of it, the cost of it, the district that it is seated in, so that you too can follow along and reach out with any questions that you might have.
I have a question on outgoing projects. The Woodstock community told me yesterday that they need new bleachers in the gym. I'm almost certain that we advocated for new gym bleachers years ago, but they don't have any.
I'll take a look at it.
So, Madam Superintendent, thanks for this update, particularly on the capital projects. I know these items were presented in our budget when we approved the budget. Will we see these items again individually as they come back up for from a procurement standpoint, or will the work just commence with the adoption of the budget? I just want to know how we keep line of sight. In addition to the website, what cadence will we receive to know where is it still in the queue? Have we started? Is it shovel ready? Where are we on these particular projects? Will we be able to see that? Or does this report is intended to tell us more than just these are items that are approved?
Yeah, so overall, this is work that is ongoing.
Okay.
So it certainly is including projects that were started, prior to, my tenure. Certainly projects that were approved as of late for this budget in terms of the RFP status, the cost of it, generally where it sits in terms of the process itself. And so this is just an all-inclusive review.
Thank you.
It will not divert from the general process to get things through to the board.
And I definitely wasn't insinuating that. And as I squint my eyes, I can see this. So basically, you do have dates on estimated approval for the board, and also, and I guess at that time we will get status updates once procurement processes begin. So I just saw it blank there and wasn't sure what that meant. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Good. No?
Commissioner Williams and then Dr. Garcia.
Superintendent Fagan, last week you made the claim that there was a lot of abuse. Last week you made the claim that there was some, what you feared as mismanagement or overspending the budget for overtime. And I did a little research on it, and I saw that it actually came in certain areas, certainly security, certainly fixing up schools to make them livable for the children and the teachers coming the coming week. But it was not as widespread as I thought it was. It was really confined to those things. So what do we plan to do differently? And I think security, those people who have the responsibility of securing graduations and games, I don't know that we have the wherewithal to accommodate all of that. But we do have to, those same officers have to do that in the evening if they're at night things. So there's going to be pay. And then there was insinuation that some financial secretaries, my concern is, have you figured out how to make that process better so that we don't have to have these things done every year or without the craftsmen and the workmanship to do it? Because it is impossible probably to have security guards 24/7 with the numbers that we have.
I want to make sure I understand your specific question. Are you asking, have we figured out a way to strengthen the process in short?
So that we do not have to go so deeply into overtime with the limited number of people. Is it easier? Would it be easier to hire more people? Would it be easier not to do it? The schools won't be as clean. The food won't be as good. You won't have security and safety in these areas. There were some schools this year that didn't have safety at the graduations. They had incidences. So it's a big need to have what we have in this facility. And if we are short of security officers and safety officers for the school year, we're probably short of them all the time, even when we have these events, the mass graduations that we have 100 graduations a year, and someone has to be there. So I'm saying if the overtime is a problem, how do we solve it? Do we hire more people or do we just don't service them?
So thank you for the question. I do want to share that when I spoke, I didn't mention any positions. What I shared was there's an opportunity to better manage the way we roll out and approve overtime. Generally speaking, the overtime policy already existed before me. The only addition in terms of the language that we recommended for the board to review and approve is for pre and prior approval from the superintendent. It already included moving through the manager or the direct supervisor of the individual. We added the superintendent. That prior approval requires the organization to be better about managing the same. So it speaks exactly to what you're asking. We think about fixing or addressing an issue like this, you fix the system and the practices, not the people. And so I never underscored a person or a particular position because I did not request an investigation or anything in that regard. What I did highlight is an opportunity to give more attention to what we would consider waste. And there's always an opportunity in any organization of any magnitude or any size to be better about fiscal responsibility. That would be our management of money. And so when we think about the expenses, which I only shared generally speaking with the board via email, I have not unveiled anything to anyone. And so I have not shared any of that information. So I would prefer not to speak to it online, but I can go through it with you deeper if you have additional questions offline. But overall, I will say that in addition to, or speaking directly to, in terms of what we're doing to strengthen it, we did implement the same. And as shared, the month of July right now, we're well under $10,000. And certainly I understand we're in the summertime and activities aren't as high. But looking at that over year to year, it is significantly less than what the district has averaged over the past 3 years. I would not make the type of accusations of that magnitude without having the proper information from counsel, General Counsel 1, and following a process that would lead me to say the same. But as superintendent, the board, you have empowered and hold me responsible for ensuring that we both utilize and allocate the funds that we have and work to squeeze the dollars out of the ones that we haven't seen. And so here's that opportunity.
But your claim was there was abuse of overtime. That was the claim you made publicly.
There was
and do you stand by that?
I do stand by that there is waste and that it is aligned with overtime. And so when I looked at specific areas, There is an opportunity not just in security, not just in nutrition, not just in the areas that you have underscored, but looking by department, by month, looking at how we strategically or not allocate our resources that are available, looking at the number of vacancies, looking at the opportunity to better organize all of the above. Yes, I do stand by the opportunity to strengthen practices and how we allocate our resources.
So how do you solve a problem if you don't have the manpower? If you're going to have security at graduations, security at football games, and these people work all day as security officers in the district, if they have to work all evening, how are you going to divide that?
I think that you are
same people
underscoring something that doesn't exist, and so it is not you can't work overtime. Certainly as a coach, as a principal, as a district leader over high schools, I know that there are thousands of activities that happen simultaneously, and so
those
certainly
people don't get overtime. They're salary. Teachers never get overtime. You know that now.
Yes, sir.
So you can't put them in this bag. This is just for people who are doing the work.
I have not shared teachers. What I'm sharing is, as someone who's worked in a school, I know that athletics, and someone who's worked as a coach, I know that security is necessary for the multiple activities that we have. And so that is not what's being highlighted.
But I just didn't want it to go out that I agreed with any kind of inference that people were mismanaging money or stealing money or taking money, doing things that they should not do, nefarious things. I think that they are doing their duty if they are securing students and securing games and securing properties of this district. And certainly if it is being submitted by their advisors, I just don't see where it would have been such a glittering issue of even an attempt to say that there was mismanagement or stealing money.
I look forward to our next one-on-one when we meet this week, and I can unveil that for you line by line.
I pulled what I need to pull on all of that.
Yes, sir. Look forward to any additional questions.
Commissioner Garcia, then Commissioner Love. Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Love, in that order.
My question was originally something else, but I have quick follow-up questions to what Board Member Williams asked. How many people are impacted by the overtime? Without going into titles, roughly, what is the number of people who were experiencing the amount of overtime? How many employees are we talking about?
I think I shared the report, but I can get you the exact number off.
Okay. And then what is like the actual approval process? So like here the prior authorization, we've got the football schedule, right? When we know we need security. But what does it actually look like for an employee to go through that process? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, according to the policy, and I'm not sure if you have it before you, but according to the policy, you complete the overtime form, submit that to your direct supervisor and or manager. What we've recommended is the addition of the prior approval of the superintendent, but generally speaking, that process has already pre-existed.
Will there be a potential, you know what, I'm going to save that until we get to the policy conversation. We are going to discuss the changes to the policy, correct? The 4 policies we have tonight.
If you have additional questions.
Yes, I'll save it so we don't derail the rest. I want to flag the contract slide. I think it was 1 or 2 back. There were some questions that I think could have been answered that I have in the policy conversation. So I just want to flag for us that I may ask that to come back up. Just in the total number of contracts that we had in the district, I think it said there were 308 active contracts. One of the policy amendments that is up for proposal tonight is the review of all contracts by the superintendent. So that means 308 contracts, if this policy change were implemented, would have to come before you regardless of the dollar amount.
I think that that's already the case. The superintendent reviews, just like legal reviews every single contract that comes to the district. So
I guess what's different in the process then? Why do we need to add that if you're already reviewing it?
Because schools are currently signing and entering the district in into contracts, and that should not be the case.
So are we going to hold up services to schools? Like, I'll ask the follow-up questions in our conversation around the policy.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
These school security guards, I am very concerned about the violence going on in our community. School is finna get ready to start next week. Do you have the manpower to make sure our schools are safe?
Is your specific question, do we have an officer in every building or do we have a plan because we don't have an officer? I just want to make sure I respond to, because I generally understand and agree with you that we have an opportunity to spread our resources out and ensure heightened level of coverage. But I want to make sure that I'm answering your specific question.
Do you have the manpower and a plan? I don't want to hear it now because that is security. But I'm concerned. Everybody knows about the violence. It isn't just happening in our schools, it's happening worldwide. And I'm concerned that when schools start back, they are going to interrupt our school hours with violence. Now we can say, let me see how to word this. We have programs in place now, and resource officers and principals and the community engagement. We spend a lot of money on objects relating to security, but I am very concerned with the violence that's going on in all around Memphis. That is going to interrupt our school environment.
Yes, we have discussed thoroughly a plan. I know you don't want to hear it here, but we have discussed thoroughly a plan.
Tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Additional questions? Sure. All right, so to share our organization chart, and then in August we will place the full organization chart online. I want to make sure that we introduce our leaders. We'll start here with our senior leaders, General Counsel Justin Bailey, Transformation Officer Dr. Roderick Richmond, Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations Mr. Tito Langston. They would like to see who you are. Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Janice Tankson, Dr. Janice Tankson. If you could stand, please. Deputy Superintendent of Education Services, Dr. Angela Whitelaw. Executive Director of Literacy, Dr. Jared Myracle. Facility Services Officer, Michelle Stewart. Special Assistant to the Superintendent, Camelin Turner. Our Interim Business Financial Officer, Ms. Leslie Knighton. And as of moments ago, we were able to fill our Strategic Communications Officer position with Mr. Jermaine Johnson.
Greetings, everyone. I am Jermaine Johnson, and I am honored to serve as your brand new Strategic Communications Officer. We're going to have some fun with our radio, our television, our media, our social media, but more importantly than anything, we're ready to learn, lead, and leave a legacy for the great city of Memphis.
Our senior officers, our senior leaders for Memphis-Shelby County Schools. Move off of it. Here's a look at our general counsel portion of the organization chart. We'll just pause and keep going. Deputy Superintendent of Education Services. Deputy Superintendent of Education Services oversees our SOAR schools, and you can see how those schools are divided into one network. 2 columns. Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations. Do want to say congratulations to our new Information Technology Officer, Mr. Richard Barora. Our Assistant Superintendent of Schools. I'd like to say congratulations to our Office of Family Engagement, Ms. Rosalind Stevenson. She was somewhere at the front. She was at the table. She's working. Stop, I got it. Dr. Tankson oversees networks 2 and 3, and you can see the schools here. This will be updated to include the board member and district as well. Our Office of School Transformation have Network Leader 5, Dr. Alicia Kiner. Network Leader 6, Ms. Deborah Fox Stanford. Network Leader 7, Dr. Terrence Britnam. Those are our network leaders. Charter Schools, Ms. Arlandra Parker. Dr. Richmond oversees our SOUP schools networks, networks 4, 5, 6, and 7, and you can see the schools here. Special Assistant to the Superintendent. Our Partnerships and Advancement Office, Dr. Lori Phillips. Executive Director of Literacy. Are the literacy managers here? Dr. Tiffany Boyle, Literacy Manager for 6 through 12. Ms. Joyce Harrison, Literacy Manager for K through 5. Our Interim Business Finance Officer, Ms. Leslie Knighton. Not much of this has changed in terms of what is seated in the Business Finance Office. Facility Services. And of course, we had Gear Up today, still happening right now. We've had more than 1,000 students to register, several new students, if you will, as well. Meeting the principals and staff, getting supply lists, and certainly learning more about the school as we get ready for Monday. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Where does policy sit?
I'm sorry?
Where does policy sit?
In the Special Assistant to the Superintendent.
Your office?
Yes. Intergovernmental Affairs and Policy.
Commissioner Garcia and then Commissioner Calvo.
Thank you for the clarity. One quick question on the networks. Were those I know they were decided by types of schools, but were they grouped together for geographic consistency?
We did our best.
Okay.
I think you understand how cut up the city is and the district is, but we did our best in
And
terms
some
of
districts.
that is correct.
And then I saw vacant, particularly on one of the slides where there was security, nutrition. It seemed like 3 major roles were vacant. I saw some of the network leaders. Are we close to candidates in those roles? And how is that impacting anyone who falls underneath that? Thinking particularly of all the things that you've shared
I
in
think you're
nutrition
talking here.
services, or what is the impact of those vacancies and timeline?
So here we're talking about executive leadership. I think the work happens, generally away from here. So the work itself is more about filling all of the vacancies. We had several hundred vacancies in our nutrition services. We've gotten those down to more than half, and so that work will actually strengthen because we've filled many of the vacancies there. In terms of our talent management office, that work has generally needed the greatest amount of attention in general, and so that remains a work in progress. I did forget to share Executive Director Ms. LaShonda Brooks, so thank you for bringing us back to this screen. She is right there.
The network leaders. Are we close to? I know there are various stages of, an application being posted and offer out. Are we close on these major key roles or a majority of the key roles?
Yeah, but fully confident in the leaders who oversee it, Dr. Richmond, Dr. Tankson, Dr. Whitelaw, in terms of the leadership that is being provided, but the areas, to speak specifically to your question, in terms of vacancies, we're close in a couple of areas and not so close in others.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Briefly, you at the beginning of your presentation, you talked about communities in community schools. Can you elaborate a little bit about where are we with kind of the national and regional efforts? Is this a separate thing? Are we partnering with other people? Kind of, yeah.
In terms of,
right. So I was just curious, like, why did we bring this up? Like, was this like an update of? I know there are other efforts. I know I saw that a group of people from MSCS went to Boston to get some training on this. I was just curious to see if we're doing our own, or are we partnering with more from Memphis and other institutions to do this work?
so I think what a community school has probably been reduced to is a model that was specifically created by someone, but the model itself is literally that, a community school. And so extending our partnerships, which is what we were highlighting here, in terms of the need to ensure that every school has a partnership. Certainly you can partner with the district, but the schools need the partnership. What that work looks like for anyone specific, I wouldn't highlight any specific organizations, but where the work is needed in this season is what the conversations center around with anyone who wants to do work with schools and or the district. And so that would underscore some of the needs you have highlighted. And certainly we can go in multiple different directions, but what is the focus that the board would like for us to have right now? And that has differed in previous seasons. And so highlighting that people recognize our efforts to wrap around our schools the way that they need to, B, being very clear about what it means to provide the supports in alignment with what a community school means, as it is, multiple years old in terms of terminology and introduction into the field, but overall that a district of our size and magnitude is doing the work to a high degree in deep ways.
Is this pretty much the work under Dr. Phillips' area? Is that why we have a partnership director, or not necessarily?
So our partnerships in general, they're across all VIP tours. It was, we have trouble with doing work with the district. We can start the process, but then there's a wall or there's a barrier, or we hear back or we don't. And so really dedicating more efforts to how we service and serve both businesses, philanthropic leaders across the board with a dedicated office. It also serves to support, just as XAI has entered and wants to collaborate with the district, we have a defined area that supports that work while having a defined area that supports the work in the Office of Family Engagement for our families and community in general.
Love and Willits.
First question, I would like a printed copy of this. And the second question is, I don't know his department, but he is Bill White. Where does he sit?
Strategy and innovation.
Yeah. And the third question, is I was at a meeting yesterday, and the director from the health department, um, she she made a statement that she is trying to get in the district, but she is having a hard time. The HIV rate is ballooning, 15 to I don't know the age, but it is ballooning. And we have to have community partners that invest in our children physically, academically, and safety. Because the average rate for the HIV cases is 15 years old. I have a 15-year-old daughter. And it is imperative for us to get the help that we need so our kids can be safe. I have her information right here, and I am your team or you or anybody can call on her because we need the help.
I'll reach out to her. I've generally spoken with the director, so I'll reach out to see what those barriers are.
Thanks for this quarterly impact report template. I'm curious, and I love Little S community schools as a model, a vehicle for delivering services to kids. This is, I think, we're moving in a direction where we know it's more than just great teaching. We need lots of resources. So thank you for the attention here. As we look at the schools that say maybe they do have 7 partners and there's a variety of supports, how will we convene those partners who are supporting schools to learn from each other about what's working or what's not working, and not just have individual reports against, a contractor with the services that are delivering, but like an analysis about where we can sharpen against each other. Right.
I like your use of the term sharpen. It's one of my favorites. In terms of that, we've already had those conversations with several of our partners about going first and sharing how it's working well. Well, I won't underscore a specific one, but they've already volunteered to demonstrate how they've been able to expand, really massage and nurture a partnership over an extended period of time with several schools now, but it started certainly with one. So using models like that to share with other businesses so that we can have that same level of quality and engagement that exists in that pocket of our district across the district. So certainly we are there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Superintendent, my comments are probably more comments than questions, but since the parliamentarian isn't here, no one's going to hopefully ding me or cut me off, but I'll try to be brief. And since we went through a lot of slides, it may sound like I'm all over the place, and by saying these things doesn't mean that we're not doing it, but I just want to speak it into the ecosystem because I think employees need to hear it, which is number one, you mentioned board office policy, intergovernment resting with who's the decision maker there? All right, congratulations. A lot of that work overlaps and requires you to work really closely with the board. And times we've seen it rest in other places, such as general counsel. We have great confidence in you. I've seen your smiling face. But understand 9-member boards, very demanding, but all want to row in the same direction. So as much hand-holding as you can give, particularly Ms. Love, be patient with us. But knowing that we're all trying to get to the same goal. But Madam Superintendent, being okay in any of these org structures, if at any moment that is not working, being prepared to pivot, no pride in ownership, never hesitate to say, hey, come back to the board. Hey, that didn't work. I say this often, Dr. Whitelaw will hear me say this all the time, is that I don't know where else, but in urban education, it seems like we have to hide mistakes. We have to shy away from the hard stuff, but you've always owned it. You've said, hey, this is hard. This is a problem. We don't shy away from vacancies. We talk about where we're growing to, but let's not hesitate to say when it's not working, and inform early, inform often. All right, guys? Number two, you posted recently, because I I watch your tweets and your posts. You're very engaging in the community, but you hire great people. You get out of their way, and I just want to remind us that you've hired amazing people. Empower them to make good hires. Uh, you like sports analogies, so I think Bill Parcells said, "Hey, you want me to be the chef? Then let me go shop for some of the groceries, right? Let me do some of the cooking." So make sure that as we go down that org chart, empower them. They know great people, so to build great teams. I'm confident they'll do that. And colleagues, we adopt a budget once a year, but it's a monthly process. At any time that you see opportunities to improve, let's take advantage to hold the CFO, hold our COO to account, and ask them to bring opportunities to this body to continue to move in the right direction. And then finally, when you talk about communities and schools, who wake up every day? That's going to be one of the things I ask myself. We can't put it all on the principals and teachers, great leaders. You're giving them, you're pouring resources at them. But when that bucket starts to overflow, who's there to catch it? And so I ask us to think about, when we think about communities in schools, who wake up every day? And I only mentioned community in schools since it was on your slides, but someone has to own it every day and think about how we support our schools. And I don't know if that's a coordinator, but we can't just say it's a principal or assign that additional responsibilities to a teacher. I know you're thinking about these things. I know we're going to be ready day one, but I just wanted to mention those things that I'm sure our principals are having to think about as well. So I appreciate all you're doing, and I'll save my other questions till we get to the agenda. So as I said, no questions, just comments. Thank you.
All right, you finished? No, I'm asking the question. Oh, okay. You like to keep going like a Duracell. I wasn't sure if you were through. I was going to give you more time. All right, we're on now to, we don't have any special order of business, so we are now on to unfinished business. 10.1, subject proposed policies, second reading.
11.1.
Yes, ma'am. 11.1, subject proposed policies, first reading.
So, Chair, we're making the recommendation already. What would you like to do here? Answer questions?
Yes, I had a question. I was kind of sort of waiting on Ms. Stewart. Well, I was kind of looking for her, but we don't have a parliamentarian, so someone will have to guide me. I know that policy 6014 and 6016 are policies that we need to vote on tonight because they are pressing, but I wanted to take 2013, 2006, and 4059 just because some of us have some questions around them. I wanted to take them back, Madam Superintendent, so that the board and the superintendent could have some discussions around those, if that's okay with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
So, Madam Chair, which policies are in need of voting on doing the agenda?
6014 and
16 and
6016.
Okay. So are you asking us to put those up for a vote now?
Yes.
So we actually need to back up to the second reading.
Okay.
We skipped policy number 0018, board staff communications. That's up for second reading tonight.
And Madam Chair, I think you want to pull it?
It's clear. It's just really small.
All right, you're fine.
I don't have any questions about the staff communication policy around second reading. I think all of the policies we were referencing were on the first read list. So, and I do understand we have to suspend rules on the attendance and truancy, correct?
That's correct, but 0018 was introduced last month.
Correct. I don't think we have any questions.
I do. I think she's still catching up. I want to be recognized.
Madam Chair. Yes, Mauricio, I recognize you.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. So just as we're pushing, tabling the other policies, can we also move to policy 0018 for further discussion? I know we touched on it, but since we don't have committee meetings this month, I would like to have further discussion on this policy as well. So I'm fine if we talk about the ones that must be approved tonight, which I understand is 61.4 and 61.6, but the rest of the policies, if we can send them back to committee or a version of it.
I
Work
agree.
session.
I agree.
Is there any implication for delaying this? Do we have any like statutory requirement to get
For
it approved tonight?
0018, nothing
Okay.
based on
Great.
state
Then
statute.
if board members need that, then that makes sense. 0018. The staff communication. Board member Calvo just referenced that. Having additional questions.
So if we read it tonight, it will be approved. And I know we read it once, but I would like to send it back for revision. So it doesn't get approved or denied today.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So in other words, I'm proposing, my motion is that we move to get the readings on 6014 and 6016, which is truancy and attendance, and then the rest of the policy will go back to work session.
So I think what you all are trying to do is to table the vote on second reading of 0018 board staff communications, and that would complete the second reading portion. For the first reading portion, you want to table 2013 professional service contracts, 2006 purchasing authority, 4059 overtime. Those will be tabled. And 6014 attendance and excuses, and 6016 truancy can be voted on tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Yes. So do I need to make a yeah?
We take the votes now or later is what I'm asking.
So roll call vote. Do we need a motion and a second? Motion and a second. And we have a motion from Commissioner Love and a second from Commissioner Woods. We're voting on 6014 and 6016.
I think you have to vote to table.
Okay. So we want a motion to table those. Someone give me a motion and a
To
second.
table for the second reading. That policy
Motion.
that was up for second
Motion.
Motion and a second. Motion, thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Is that correct? And Commissioner Love, second? Right. Is it roll call vote? Do we need? I think Superintendent was asking a question. Would you ask your question? Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sharing that we're on the second reading of the board communications policy. No one has had a question about it. Like, we've reviewed it in the board retreat. We've discussed it. It's generally nothing that shares anything but, hey, make sure you heighten the superintendent's communication. We didn't even change a lot of it. We strengthened the language. I'd be interested to see why we would like to table that one for sure.
No, I understand. I know we discussed it during the retreat, and I agree with everything you said. I personally had more questions to that, but I don't think tonight's the night because we still have 1,000 things to do. So I'm just tabling for further review during our next work session. That's all.
I want to get some clarifying questions from Maria Stewart.
All right, understood.
So the
I'm
motion-
deferring to my colleagues who still have questions, and I respect that. In the same way, if I still had questions, I know they would be supporting more time. And so I want to give my colleagues all the opportunity they have to get all their questions answered. So I think we need a roll call vote, or
I'm waiting on Ms. Clark for a roll call vote to table those items. General Counsel, excuse me.
I'm sorry. Were there questions that you wanted to ask about this?
I do
Okay.
not have any questions. I was supporting my colleagues who still have them, and it sounds like they need additional time in a one-on-one or in a committee meeting, unless I won't speak for them.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the motion that's before us, Madam Chair?
The motion is that we will table those items and we will take them back to committee.
Table the vote.
Table the vote.
On the second reading for 0018 board staff communications. That's the only one that's up tonight for second reading.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Woods,
No.
Commissioner Love,
Yes.
Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 4 in affirmative and 2 noes.
We have the 2 on the call.
They are off the
They
call
had to
because
get
of
off
a
the call.
storm. That motion fails.
So can we go ahead and vote on Madam Chair, can we go ahead and vote on the 2 that's not in conflict?
Yes,
Let's
64.
advance those. All right.
Voting on 6014 attendance and excuses and 6016 truancy.
Motion to approve.
I have second. Second, thank you, Commissioner Love. Roll call vote, Ms. Clark.
Okay. Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Woods,
Aye.
Commissioner Love,
Aye.
Commissioner Calvo,
Just point of order. So don't we have to listen to the policy first, or can we vote on it as we are?
I think and I'm not a parliamentarian, but just from my years of experience, I think you would have to go back before you take any vote on the first read of policies. You would have to go back and deal with the second read of the policy of 0018 for the board staff communications because that motion failed. And I believe I'm correct with that.
We're in the middle of a vote, though.
But we can vote on an item because we still have a pending item before us.
We disposed of it because the motion failed. We don't have to do it again. Just it failed and we went on to the next item and we can take that item up next. I'm trying to clear the items by moving forward with the items that's before us.
General Counsel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The motion was to table the right, which means now it's up for consideration.
But Madam Chair, just so you know, when you're driving the agenda, if you want to skip to any item on the agenda without objection, you get to do that.
Yes, sir. And we are in the middle of a motion, of voting. Is that your clarifying point?
Yeah, I would like to, if you're okay with moving forward with the motion with the 2 items that's before us and the chair is not objecting to that, I would like to proceed. So Mr. Calvo, you want to continue with your vote? All right.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 6 in the affirmative. I'm sorry, you have 5 in the affirmative and 1 no.
Okay, that motion passes.
So Madam Chair, now can we go back to the other item that we table so we can, Mr. Calvo, if I may, if you have strong objections. So first of all, I agree with my colleague, Ms. Garcia. I show a great deal of respect to my colleagues who have additional questions and have no objection to rolling this item to the next board meeting. It's common courtesy for colleagues. And that's why I appreciate Ms. Garcia's question to say, is there any objection or heartburn if we table this item? The superintendent clearly has raised some concerns about it being a second reading. If there are still outlying questions, I encourage us to take advantage of our time with the superintendent. I want to say again on the record, I'm fine rolling that to next month if that's the will of this body. But if now is the time. I mean, my dinner plan is until 8 p.m. If you want to ask the questions or clarify it now, let's take advantage of that so we can dispose of this item. If you need more time, then I'm willing to give that.
Thank you, Commissioner Woods. I'd rather have more time because I think we have a packed agenda tonight still to go through. My questions are both for the superintendent but also for the policy office. So in the interest of time and just to do it well, I'd rather table this if it's the will of the body.
Since the superintendent asked, I have a concern for clarity. This include not talking to principals and teachers that are in our area.
I don't believe it includes not talking to principals or anyone else that's in your area.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. But there is a direct line of communication that should go to from the board to the superintendent, but that does not stop you from being able to have any type of communication with other employees.
Because for the past 10 years, I have been on the board. I have heard people reference the administration not talking to board members, and that is against the law. That needs to stop. Anybody committing such crime as to as to um, not talk to us, that is against the law. We are elected officials. They can talk to us, but we don't have jurisdiction over anything that they say. That is the superintendent's main responsibility to oversee the employees of the district.
Yes, ma'am.
Board Member Love, I appreciate you bringing it to the public because we did have the conversation in the background when you raised and you named. I have addressed that. I think I've been very clear that individuals are free to speak with whom they like. I think in terms of the governance and ensuring that we're able to make quick decisions and make the right decisions, the flow of the communication, which you already do, is certainly what is already, in existence. Certainly, I can't speak to previous years, but that is certainly not the expectation, nor has it been the communication from me as superintendent in that regard. But I have addressed, as you've brought it up, in terms of addressing specific individuals.
Can we get clarity from our general counsel if that item passed or
Right,
not?
General Counsel, go back, and I think I said that item failed. Let me correct that. That item passed because it was majority rule to table those items. So we want to make sure we say that clearly on the record. You want to add to that?
I don't. That was my comment. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We're now on to the consent agenda, unless we have additional questions. Anything else from you, Ms. Stewart?
No, that's
All right.
clear.
Thank you so much for your patience. We're now on to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
We already moved 12.1, but
I know, I'm just following the script.
thank you.
All right. So we're now ready to read, Madam Superintendent? I'm ready? Okay. 12.1, which is the adoption of our charter authorization amended rounds. That was removed. Okay. So we'll come back to that one. 12.2 was removed too, correct?
Oh, yes.
So 12.1 is still on the agenda. I think the request from the board was to separate them and vote on them separately.
Okay. But 12.2 was.
You're removed.
Okay, 12.3. Contract approval, school health corps, $117,426. 12.4, contract approval, first aid educational services, wraparound and instructional coaching support, $9,062,500. 12.5, contract approval, early college collaboration for educational innovation, Shelby County Schools, Middle College, and Christian Brothers, $147,111. 12.6, contract renewal, RCM Technologies, $2,139,727. 12.7, contract renewal, comprehensive medical staffing, $1,700,000. 12.8, contract approval, Instruct Sure K-12 Learning Management System, $736,748. 12.9, contract approval, First Aid Community Partners, $400,000. 12.10, adoption by boards, cooperative master agreement adoption. I don't see a dollar amount with that item. So 12.10, should I have one, Tito? Nope, okay. 12.11, adoption, Sourcewell cooperative master agreement adoption, no dollar amount. 12.12, adoption of the TIPS cooperative master agreement adoption, no dollar amount. These are just 12.13, contract renewal with the Frontline Technologies Group, $184,623.08. 12.14, contract approval, HEAL 901, $138,240. 12.15, contract approval, Treadwell Auditorium renovations, drum roll, $938,040.10. 12.16, contract amendment, Westwood High School exterior window replacement, $29,760. 12.7, grant approval for Rises, $9,514,046. 12.18, contract approval, CSM Consultant, $76,000. 12.19, contract renewal, VMware renewal, $249,296.60. 12.20, risk management services for property and liability insurance, $4,771,314. 12.21, school transition, ASD school returning to MSCS. There's no dollar amount. 12.22, contract approval, VPK Community Partners, $1,500,000. 12.23, contract approval, Head Start Community Partners, $2,100,000. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and a second?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Wood. Second by Commissioner Garcia. Roll call vote, Ms. Clark.
Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Wood,
Aye.
Commissioner Love,
Present, but not voting.
Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green. Okay, you have 5 in the affirmative, and then you have 1 that did not vote.
Motion passes. Thank you. I think we're back to 12.1. Superintendent, is that correct? Where we wanted to separate the charter renewals, right? Okay.
Yes.
So we'll take them one by one, starting with.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to for the one that's in the affirmative, approve Grizzlies Prep.
I second the motion. Roll call vote, Ms. Clark.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Woods,
Aye.
Commissioner Love,
Aye.
Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 6 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Grizzlies STEM for girls, yes. All right. Probably got a little carried away on that one. All right, Commissioner Woods, we're now on to.
Yeah, Madam Chair, it gets this gets tricky without a parliamentarian. This was not fun last time, but I guess before we put these items up one at a time, the recommendation from the administration, if you can read that as stated.
This recommendation is for the board to adopt the denial of Wooddale Middle School as we're taking it one.
All right, thank you. So that motion's on the floor. So that motion, I make that motion. And,
All right.
Get a second.
We need a second, Mr. Williams. All right.
All right. So, Madam Superintendent, could we get a short, brief, just a high-level overview of the rationale for the denial that
Yes, Ms. Parker.
Please, thank you.
Brief.
Good evening, Commissioner, Superintendent. Yolanda, if you would turn to slide 15 of the presentation, please. So our recommendation is to deny Wooddale Middle School as this applicant did not meet the TDOE rubric as well as did not meet Board Policy 1011. A few of the concerns for this applicant, as noted in the summary and the full rubric, is that there are some academic concerns related to this applicant as their long-term goals do not extend past 2025. We have some concerns about information that was removed from the application instead of addressing specific feedback in the application. We have concerns around their plan for special populations, RTI. Additionally, we have some concerns around the plan for the homeless, migrants, special education services, as this information was removed from the handbook. As we look at the operations section, as we know, Green Dot Tennessee has transitioned to local governance, which is IOTA. And so with that, there are concerns as the organization was supported by Green Dot Tennessee from a financial standpoint, from back office supports. And there are just concerns about this transition from an operational, finance, and governance standpoint. Finally, from an academic standpoint, this particular network has not had a long history of high-performing schools. Although this school, Wooddale Middle School, we acknowledge, does have a C on the most recent state report card. The other schools in this particular network are low-performing schools, and those schools have letter grades of F.
Commissioner Calvo, did you get your question answered?
So my question is, obviously this is not working. Madam Superintendent, tell me, what are we, if we take over this school, we plan to keep it open? What is your plan to turn this thing around? I mean, you don't have to give me the whole plan, but just right, like, what are we going to be doing differently? Because that is the question that I often have. You know, a charter has it, we take it away. Are we going to do as bad of a job, or are we significantly going to do something differently?
I think that certainly it requires a deep review, as we've done with all of our schools. And so a deeper review, this review is just, by the rubric in terms of the evaluation. Our review would certainly be deeper into the academic performance and looking at how to strengthen some of the opportunities that they already have. But certainly the areas of concerns would be our first start. And so we've lifted several of those in terms of what was not evident in the application. I don't want to speak about what is really happening in the building because certainly I haven't been there and operated with the staff, and I believe they're generally doing, the best that they can. But in terms of the concerns that we had based on the rubric, we would start there, strengthen there, as we do all of our schools.
Thank you. And if we deny, if they don't get renewed, is this effective next school year, or so they will still go for this academic year that we're starting next week, right?
So they have one more year.
They have one more year.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
And I wanted to ask a question. And within that one more year, are they able to apply again?
So, no, ma'am, there will not be an opportunity for them to apply again. But what they can do, if denied tonight, they have an opportunity to appeal to the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. And with that, they will have a de novo review where the commission will review and provide a recommendation. If the recommendation is to overturn our denial, if that is the denial for the will of the board tonight, then if the commission overturns that denial and approves the school will have an opportunity to have a 30-day mutual agreement, whereas the district and the applicant can either agree to be under the LEA of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, or they will be a commission school.
Thank you. I just needed you to say that for the record so
Yes,
the listening
ma'am.
public can hear and understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
So motion states to adopt the denial. That's the recommendation of the board. Motion by Amber Garcia. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Williams. Thank you. Roll call vote, Ms. Clark.
Okay. Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Woods,
Aye.
Commissioner Love,
Aye.
Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 6 in the affirmative.
We accept the recommendation of the charter office. Okay, and the last one. We have one more, Superintendent Fagan.
Yes, this is also a recommendation to adopt the denial of the application for Journey Northeast Academy.
Do I have a motion to accept that recommendation?
I'm not a parliamentarian, but failure to get a motion is disposing of the item.
Okay. Duly noted. And
so this item fails due to failure to get a motion or a second. Would anyone else like to restate the motion and put it on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion for the board to deny the recommendation of the administration and recommend approval of the item before us. You can help me with rewording there.
Can the motion be just be the approval of the?
Yeah, I recommend approval.
when it was denied, it was automatically. Go on, Commissioner Love.
I second the motion.
So, Madam Chair, there is a motion and a second on the floor for the approval of Journey School.
Roll call vote, Ms. Clark.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Woods,
Aye.
Commissioner Love, Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
Okay. You have 5 in the affirmative and 1 no.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Next item, Madam Chair.
Superintendent's getting ready to speak to 13.1, subject U of M contract school transition.
Thank you. So Public Chapter 1053, which was signed into law May 28th, 2024, allows for the University of Memphis to create a new local education agency for university schools. The district and the University of Memphis have had extensive conversations and discussions about the early termination of the master agreement between the board and the University of Memphis. At this time, I'm bringing before the board approval of the termination of this agreement, subject to a full release of claims and responsibilities as agreed upon and executed by all parties. The release will be presented to the board, or the release is presented to the board tonight for consideration and approval.
Thank you. We need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Garcia and a second by Commissioner Woods. Roll call vote, Ms. Clark.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Woods,
Aye.
Commissioner Love, Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 5 in the affirmative.
Thank you. That motion passes. We're on now to our strategic allocations for $171,586. May I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second by Commissioner Calvo.
Just hold on, guys. We just got a couple minutes. I actually do. Can I ask a quick question? Or put this out? What? We did have a few allocations that I don't see represented on the allocation list. I know I've written them to you. Will they be on next month's allocations? Is there a time period cutoff that is ideal, or do we have flexibility to add? Okay. Okay. Okay, sure. So it sounds like about a week's notice would be, yep. Okay, thank you very much. And then I appreciate all the schools that have reached out, asking for resources. I am looking for students to start thinking about projects they want within their schools too, because I would like to make some of those.
I've already started with that one, so.
I love it.
Madam Chair,
Motion,
I just want to confirm, going back on the University of Memphis contract, there were, I know Ms. Love stepped out, but there were 5 in the affirmative, right?
Yes.
And that does still constitute a majority?
Absolutely.
All right, just want to make sure. All right, so we're good on that one. I just want to validate.
5 of
that.
us here.
All
One,
right, thank
2,
you.
3. Yes, sir.
Ms. Love confused us.
All right.
We already have a motion, right? We have a motion to approve the strategic allocations.
And a second and a roll call vote from Ms. Clark.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Wood,
Aye.
Commissioner Calvo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Board Chair Green.
Aye.
You have 5 in the affirmative.
Thank you. That motion passes. And if there being no other business, Mr. Woods, before this body, we are adjourned.
One more to go. One more to go. All right, good job.